So another one of my daily chores is checking on my garden in the morning. We got some nice, good rain last night, so everybody should be nice and hydrated. It is damp out here. I'm glad I wore my little chicken boots. Got those from High C. And no, they're not a sponsor. No, I'm not an affiliate. But I like to tell you guys what works and what doesn't work. And these things have a 100-year warranty on them. So anyway, coming out to check in the garden. See how everything is growing. My little 3 sad green bean plants are doing good. These are the peas that me and London planted in a previous video, and in the description box I will put a link to that video if you want to see it. A 10-year-old planted this bed, and look at how amazing these peas are looking. Now, because we're in Texas, we get quite a long fall growing season, so we should be able to feasibly get these going and get some peas off of them before we get a freeze. Most years we don't get a freeze until at least January, sometimes not even until February. So we are going to be putting up a trellis with some cattle panels and some T-posts here in probably the next week, because as you can see, some of these are getting pretty tall and we're going to need a trellis for those. Now, I'm seeing something here that is not a pea, I don't think. Let's take a look at this plant right here. That is a cucumber. I'm gonna dig that up later and move it over to one of my blue buckets over there. I have one that I moved already over here. So I moved this one last week, and it was only about 1 inch tall, and you can see it's growing like crazy. So one of the experiments we're doing this year, and we're taking you guys along for all these experiments, is we're getting our greenhouse, our first greenhouse going, and we're going to take some of these plants in buckets and move them to the greenhouse to see if we can overwinter them in the greenhouse and even maybe harvest some vegetables and things over the winter. That is one of the things that we're really wanting to look at to be more self-sufficient. So this little cucumber here, man, it's growing like crazy. These tomatoes have seen better days. Don't really know exactly what I'm going to do with those at this point. The heat just decimated them. But I do see some new growth coming back right here that's starting to look really pretty. So the best thing may be to cut off that new growth and use it as a clone. So we'll decide later what we're going to do with that. Fig trees growing like crazy. Getting ready to put those in some bigger buckets because they are definitely going in the greenhouse over the winter. Now my little lemon, it's looking good this morning. It was the one that when I was sick, I didn't water them for several days and all the leaves dried up and fell off. Thought it was gone, and now it's double the size it was. So a lot of times these things can come back. Another really good example of that. Do y'all see that spider web right there? Somebody has got dinner sitting there, or breakfast, I guess, because it's morning. But so another good example of things coming back. These little fluffy looking plants are actually asparagus, and I had planted these back in the winter. I had planted these back in the spring, hoping that I could get them started because they're supposed to grow for about 2 years before you really harvest anything from them. and they all burned up and died off. And I thought, well, it was too hot, probably should try to do that in the fall. Well, I'll be darned if when the weather didn't start cooling off, these suckers just started growing like crazy. And now I've got a whole pot full of them coming up. And I even see one right there. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. That looks like it has an asparagus stalk on it. So we'll see how that goes. But you're supposed to grow these for about 2 years before you start harvesting off of them. And once you put them in the ground, they will keep coming up every year, is my understanding. I've read that they will. This is my first time to grow it, so we'll just have to wait and see. You guys follow me over the next 7 years, and I'll let you know. So one of the things that I've been real proud of this year is my peppermint. This started out with 2 little peppermint stalks in this bin. And just look at this. Look at that growth. That is crazy. I'm getting ready to harvest a good portion of this and dry it out for peppermint tea, which is really good for digestion, and I have problems with my digestive system. So I deal with stuff like IBS and diverticulitis and now gallbladder issues. So anything I can do for my digestive system is great. So I'm about to harvest some of this and dry it up for peppermint tea. So, last thing we're going to check on today is our little sprouts. So these broccoli sprouts, they're getting big enough where they really need to be in the ground. I was going to put these in the ground yesterday, and I didn't because we had that big storm coming, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to put them in the ground. They're not going to have any protection from the storm, and it's going to beat them down. And it kind of beat them down a little bit here, but we got some that are looking really good. Can y'all hear those pigs over there? They're fighting over that food. Update on my avocados that I sprouted from seeds. These 2 are doing fantastic, and they are literally growing about 1 inch a week right now, if not more. So they are doing really well. My kale right here and my lettuce that I planted last week, I have not seen a single little green spread coming up. Now, I will tell you guys, those were older seeds. So it very well may be that they are not viable anymore. But I will let you guys know, because like I said, I'm going to show you guys the good, the bad, and the ugly with what we're doing here. Because I want everybody to understand that we have failures. Even though we're on YouTube, like, we have failures too. And a lot of this stuff we're just now learning ourselves. So, you know, we're trying to learn along with you guys. So maybe y'all can learn from some of our mistakes while we learn from our mistakes.